welcome to Modern Enlightenment. My name is Venerable Tidongmen, and I'm here to talk to you about the three pillars of Buddhism, which is the three jewels, which is the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So, the Buddha defines as a person who has enlightened him or herself. Um, Culturally, when you talk about the Buddha, we can also talk about Siddhartha Gautama, which is the historical figure that was born in India as a prince, which later on, left his worldly possession to pursue the ascetic life. And then after 6 years of hardship, studying after different various masters, and starving himself to the point where you can touch your backbone by rubbing your stomach. He has deprived himself from food so much that he has lost all of his muscles, all of his body weight, everything. He was just basically bones in a skin bag. But after all that, he realized that there is no way that he can attain enlightenment or find the causes of suffering, or why do we suffer as human beings. He finally left that hardship life and pursued the middle path, which later on went under the Bodhi tree and meditated for 49 days. And then he attained enlightenment as the Buddha. Now, that's an historical figure that happened over 2,500 years ago. But in essence, we can talk about the Buddha nature, which is seed that's inside of us that we can cultivate. Each and every sentient being in this world, the Buddha said and proclaimed that we all have the potential to become a Buddha. Either you're a dog, you're a ghost, you're humans, you're in the God realm, it doesn't matter. That each and every one of us can and has the potential to become the Buddha. The only thing that we have to do is enlighten ourselves, to basically work on ourselves, that we can remove all the suffering within ourselves to become the Buddha. Now, that is the first pillar of Buddhism, or the first jewel, which is the Buddha. The second one is called the Dharma. The Dharma here can be talked about the teachings of the Buddha, the formula that he left behind that we can take, practice within ourselves, and we can attain exactly what he attained. The Dharma here is the roadmap. Basically here, for example, I'm located in Los Angeles, and if I want to get to San Francisco, there are multiple ways to get up there. See, we can either take the 101, go all the way up north, and then we'll eventually hit San Francisco. We can either take the 5, which goes into the 152, which eventually goes into the 101, and then we'll eventually hit San Francisco if we continue going north. There are multiple ways to get up to San Francisco from Los Angeles. But what I'm trying to say here is that there's always a roadmap to get from point A to point B. Now, the formula here, the Dharma, is the roadmap to go from exactly where you are to become a Buddha yourself. There are multiple different steps that we need to do. He realizes that each and every one of us, we're all suffering. And that's the purpose that he came into this world, to relieve us from suffering. Each and every one of us suffer. We suffer because of greed, anger, and delusion. We suffer because we get angry at each other. We get suffer because we get greedy when we see money. We suffer because there's delusion and ignorance within our mind when we see something we don't understand, and then we start to discriminate. And then the whole chain of hatred and discrimination and prejudice goes in line because we don't understand, because of there's ignorance. And then the Buddha came into this world to show us that each and every one of us, we suffer. And then the Dharma is a way for us to remove ourselves from all suffering. The Dharma here can also be called a natural law. It is a natural law because each and every one of us, if we align ourselves to the teachings of the Buddha and learn from what he taught us, we can achieve great wonders within our life. How does that so? What do you mean by that? How do I achieve greatness in my life? Well, you practice the Dharma? The Dharma here is a natural law, like I said earlier. Basically, for example, one of his teachings that he taught, and I'll definitely go into greater detail. For example, the law of cause and effect, the law of karma, basically saying that whatever plant you sow, whatever seed you sow, you will reap the benefit from it. You will have that plant from exactly what seed. So if I plant an apple seed, you'll go into an apple tree. If I plant a lemon seed, it'll go into a lemon tree. There's absolutely zero way, zero possibility. If I plant a lemon seed and it grows into an apple tree, no. You reap what you sow. And then basically that's one of the fundamental laws that the Buddha taught. So basically it's a roadmap. If you want to have a happy life, you do step A, step B, and step C. You follow step 1, 2, and 3, and you eventually achieve that. You remove yourself from all the suffering within the world. You get rid of all the hatred that's in your heart. You start to understand more and remove all the ignorance within your mind. You'll start to give more and be more generous to remove all the greediness that's inside your mind. You just need to start doing all that, and then you'll start to achieve exactly what the Buddha wants you to achieve. So the Buddha, the Dharma here is the teachings of the Buddha. It's everything that's in sutra form. It's everything that's in book form. It's everything that's in the Vinayas. Everything that's in audio, video, anything that the Buddha taught himself in verbal form or in written form is considered the Dharma. And the third pillar is basically the Sangha, which is the community of monks, the community of nuns, the community of lay people, the community that comes together and study the Dharma. The Dharma, like I said earlier, is the teachings of the Buddha. Now, if you have one person studying, which is good, it's great. But if you have a collective whole, as a group of people studying together, working together, learning together, studying together, going from where they are now to achieve enlightenment together, it's called the Sangha. Now, the Sangha here traditionally can be viewed as the community of monks and nuns that you'll see just wearing the yellow robes, and they all study, and they all live in the monastery, or they all live in the temple, and they seclude themselves from the outside world. Traditionally, that is called the Sangha. But in everyday life now, in the modern society, a lot of times people don't have the luxury letting go of their worldly possession to pursue the ascetic life, to pursue the monk life. Now, if you have a regular person and they study the teachings of the Buddha, and they study the Dharma, and they study what the Buddha wants them to understand, and then you have a collective bunch, a collective whole to even sit together and learn the process of Buddhism, learn how to get rid of all the angers within their heart, learn how to brighten their minds, learn how to calm their mind, learn how to become a better person 1% a day. Now, that collective whole is the Sangha. So the three pillars, I like to repeat again, is the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. What is the Buddha? The Buddha is an enlightened being. Any one of us, either myself or you, can all become a Buddha. As long as you do everything that you need that you can, and you study from what the Buddha taught in the Dharma, you eventually can remove yourself from all the defilement that covers your Buddha nature. The second one is the Dharma. Like I said, in any written form, in any verbal form, that is the teachings of the Buddha, is considered the Dharma. And the third is the community of monks, nuns, and lay people, regular people that have studied the Dharma as a collective bunch, and together as a group, they go from point A to point B, from where they are now to enlightenment. It's considered the Sangha. Now, in any of the ceremonies, for example, the Pali tradition, you'll hear them say, Buddha, Saranam, Gacchami, Dhammam, Saranam, Gacchami, Sangham, Saranam, Gacchami. And a lot of that, if you were to translate that, it says that I go take refuge in the Buddha, I go take refuge in the Dharma, and I go take refuge in the Sangha. Now, what does it mean by taking refuge? Taking refuge here means you take shelter, like a roof. Now, the teachings of the Buddha is the roof, and we take shelter under the roof, meaning that everywhere in this world there is filled with suffering, like I said before. Everyone suffer, either myself, you, either you're white, black, Mexican, Asian, any ethnicity, any culture, anyone in this world, we all share the commonality that we all suffer. And so when we learn to take refuge in the Dharma, in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, what happened is that by taking refuge, we learn to change ourselves. And we apply what the Buddha taught to get rid of all the defilements within our life. Now, the more you understand what the Buddha wants us to understand, the more that you'll see that you'll become more happier. A lot of the people now, the reason why they are very sad, or the reason why they suffer, or the reason why they just don't feel content with what they have in their life is because they're wanting what they can't have, or they're focusing on all the bad things within their life, or they're doing all the negative things that are planting negative seeds within their life. They are harming other people. They are stealing from other people. They are causing pain to other people. They're doing everything that they are negatively wired to do. Now, the more you start to understand Buddhism, the more you start to understand the teachings of the Buddha, the more you start to understand the Dharma, is when your life starts to change. Why is this important? When you start to understand how to live life, you would want to share to other people how to live life. For example, if you have the cure for cancer, would you be quiet, or would you go find someone? Or would you go find someone and tell someone that you found the cure for cancer? And the answer is you would go tell everyone that you found the cure, because everyone around you that you recognize is suffering. They're all dying from cancer. But if you have the cure and you know that you can cure them, would you be quiet, or would you tell someone? You would tell someone. When you understand the Dharma, we as Buddhists know how to cure the cancer that within our mind. The cancer that is causing every single one of us to suffer. Like I said earlier, whether you're white, black, Mexican, Asian, Indian, any ethnicity in the world, as long as you understand the Dharma, you can live a life of complete happiness. Not just that, but whoever that comes in contact with you will feel supreme happiness as well. Why? It's because it's become a lifestyle. What I'm trying to say here is that Buddhism is a lifestyle. It's not something you just practice 1 hour a day and then the rest of the time you just do whatever you want. No. You want to make this a lifestyle. You want this to become a specific habit. You want this to become something that you can go around and share with other people. For example, if you go see a great movie and that movie has all this great explosion, and the protagonist is this, and the antagonist is this, and the character development is great, and the plot is great, and the setting is great, and everything around the whole movie is just fantastic. When you see that movie, and then all of a sudden, you went out, it's the greatest movie you've seen, would you talk to someone about it? Yes, it would. You'd be like, hey man, you gotta go see this. It's such a great movie. I can't believe that it does this, and all this explosion. It would be great. The way you share it, just your tonality and your conviction alone, it will convince the other person to go see it. For example, if you go eat something really good, and the texture of the food is just amazing, and how it just melts in your mouth, and how it's just, you just cannot wait to have another bite, and it's just one of the best meals you have, would you be quiet, or would you tell your friend about it? Would you tell your family about it? You would tell everyone about it, because it's the greatest meal you've had. The way you explain the food, the way, the texture of it, the way, the tonality, the conviction of how great it is, just by that alone would sell that other person to go try that meal that you just had. Now, when you start to apply the Dharma within your life, and you make it a lifestyle, it's very easy for you to share with other people. Now, I sit here very confident to share you about the Dharma is because I've studied the Dharma ever since I was a little kid. And up until now, I understand how it changed my life, how I went from a negative person that has low self-esteem, absolutely zero confidence with himself, to a person now that I understand how to live life. I understand how it affected me. I understand how I can become very happy. And I can share this with other people because I know how to live life. Every Buddhist who understands the Dharma knows how to live life. The Buddha knows how to live life. He lives a life of complete happiness. Not because he's the Buddha. Not because he achieved enlightenment. Of course that is. But even way before that, he understands He understands that everything in this world is constantly changing, and that there's an art to living. The one you start to understand Buddhism, you understand the Dharma, there's an art to living. There's an art to how you live your life. There's a technique in how you do it. And that's by doing all the right things that the Buddha taught, all the positive things that the Buddha taught. Not just to praise him. He doesn't need the praise for you. He needs you to take his teaching and apply it in your life so you can experience it. You can go to the restaurant and you can read a menu, and you can look over there and you can look over there and you can see that they're understanding or they're tasting their food, and it's absolutely amazing food. You can look over there and that person is absolutely amazing. But if you sit there and you just read the menu and you don't taste the food, there's absolutely zero way you can experience it. You don't know how good it is. But what it is that for the next few episodes, for the next a lot of episodes actually, I'm going to teach you all the fundamental teachings of the Buddha, all the foundation of the Buddha, what he wants us to understand, how he wants us to apply it, and then you're going to experience it yourself, what the Buddha wants us to know, what the Buddha wants us to understand, because you have to understand this. There's only one way for you to experience it, and that's if you practice it. There's no shortcut. There's absolutely zero shortcut. For example, if you want to lose weight, right? Each and every one of us wants to lose weight. But if we just stay at home and all we do is just read a book, let's see. The first thing we need to do, we need to cut back of our calories. We need to run an extra mile a day, and we need to exercise more, right? We need to drink more water. Now, I can sit here and I can read it. Will that affect my weight at all? The answer is no. The answer here is that you got to go out and you got to do it yourself. You have to put in the effort. You have to put in the time if you want to relieve yourself from all the suffering in the world. Each and every one of us all have problems. Either you're in school, you're at work, you're in a relationship, you're in a family, you have friends. Each and every one of us, we all have problems. Trust me. It's what makes us human. It's what life throws at us. But if whatever life throws at us, are you going to stay down? Or are you going to get back up and continue going? If you get back up and continue going, then you're going to learn from your mistake, your experience. And the next time you're in that situation, it's not going to happen again. So what this is that when you start to understand the Dharma, whatever life throws at you, you learn how to respond differently. Because it's not what life throws at you. Because life throws at you exactly what life throws at me. Exactly what life throws at someone else. We all get thrown around by life. But what separates a winner from a loser, a success from a failure, a confident person to an unconfident person, a successful person to an unsuccessful person, is their ability to respond whatever life throws at them. When you understand the Dharma, you learn how to respond differently. You see life a little bit different. You see life as there's an art to it. And what life throws at you, there's always a way to responding back. If someone says to you something right now, and you get angry, whatever life throws at you, and you get angry, it's because it's almost a reflex. It's years of your habit of responding that certain way. But when you start to understand the Dharma, you understand what the Buddha taught us, you start to respond differently. It's not reacting anymore. Reacting is a habit, a subconscious habit that makes you just react a certain way because years of development. But when you start to respond, puts you in a position to always think ahead of exactly what you want to do, how your life is, how you plan your move, either thinking, either your words and your speech, or your action. So in closing, you have to understand exactly what the Buddha wants us to understand, is that each and every one of us, we all suffer. And that we have to take the teachings of the Buddha and apply it. So basically, in conclusion again, if to reiterate exactly what was today's topic was the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. And I place a lot of emphasis on the Dharma because the Dharma shows us a way to get to Buddhahood. But the Dharma as a collective whole is a Sangha. When a lot of people together as a team practice the Dharma, it becomes the Sangha. So again, what is the three jewels of Buddhism? First is the Buddha. Second is the Dharma. And third is the Sangha. And I hope that basically you enjoyed today's segment of Modern Enlightenment. I definitely cannot wait to continue on with a lot more of the teachings of what the Buddha wants us to understand. There's so many things going on about Buddhism that I would love to share with you for the next, countless episodes that I'm going to have ahead. I'm going to share with you all the foundations, all the fundamentals of Buddhism, and how we can apply them to our lives so that we can achieve a modern state of enlightenment, that we can live life to the fullest, become more happy, live life with the highest potential, live life with compassion, learn how to help others, learn how to develop others, learn how to inspire others, learn how to become 1% a day, learn how to build mental toughness. Basically, learn how to become an overall great person that can not only beneficial to your family, but beneficial to society as well. And so we can shape together the future generation. And so I hope you enjoy today's segment of Modern Enlightenment. Again, my name is Venerable Tedai Men, and I look forward to talk to you soon. Namo Yidafak.